What's up, everybody? Kris Austin here, owner and pitmaster at A&M BBQ. On our first episode of Smoking with Austin, we're going to be going over our brisket trim on how we do that from start to finish. So grab a drink, sit tight, and we'll be right back soon to show you everything that we do here at A&M. Peace. Y'all better have some, man. Stay tuned. So step one, when we trim our briskets, the first thing we do, we remove this decal hard fat here. So I'm a little bit of an aggressive trimmer. Everybody's different, so everybody has their own style and way of doing things. So some people like to take off less, some people like to take off more. I kind of fall somewhere in the middle. So starting out, we're gonna remove this decal right here, which is a thick, hard fat that really won't render down. So we're gonna take that off. This fat here, if you're gonna make sausages, beef sausage especially, and no pork, this nice hard fat is what you wanna use when you're making those sausages. That's a good thing. So all these trimmings we keep and we make our sausage out of in-house. So nothing goes to waste here. This we don't use, so it goes in the trash. So everything else gets basically broken up and goes into a trim bin. And so now next, you notice this brisket has nice marbling in it. It comes from our friends over at Demcoda Ranch, and we get that from Golden Gate Meat Company here in Sonoma County. So great marbling. At step two, we're gonna spin this thing around and we're gonna take this silver skin off the top. I'm left-handed, that's why I rotate my board. So, and I use slicers when we trim. So keep our blade nice and flat. To remove that off, discard the silver skin. Nice and easy as we go through. Don't want to gouge, don't want to really butcher it up too bad. Just want to keep it nice and easy so it sits level and it cooks evenly. So next, this gray area here. So this gray area that you see on the side, we're going to remove and take all of that off just because that's where the meat has been sealed up at and pretty much not a pleasant thing to eat. So we're going to turn this just a little bit. We're going to make our line here. So I start with a line initially, and then I'll open up, and then I'll come back, and I'll come back down through again, separating that. So we keep the fat, take off the gray yucky stuff that we don't want, discard that. We cut these into cubes because we grind this fat up later on to make tallow, which we use for our salted marshmallow chocolate chip cookies. So come in house, we got beef tallow cookies, chocolate chip cookies for you. So now I'm just gonna start going through and taking off and removing off any excess fat that I do not need. So that way we can get it to a nice uniform shape. So this section here, this section is what most people would call the mohawk, but there's a lot of meat up here. You can use it for burn ends. That's where the home of burn ends comes from, Kansas City. They use that part for burn ends. They normally just cut this out and allow the mohawk to continue to hang. But here at A&M, we completely remove it. So now from here is where we're gonna start to shape. So at this point, with this side taken off, you see how much fat you have on the flat, and you can also feel around and see how much fat you have on the point. Our goal here is by the end of this is to take everything down to 1/4 of an inch. So that way, as this brisket cooks and as the fat renders, we have a nice, tender, juicy bite with nice yellow gold rendered fat at the end and not so much fat because at that point in time, it's just not a pleasant bite. So we're gonna continue taking this thing down and we'll get right back to it. Start to round things off a bit. So now I'm gonna come around the back end and start slowly working this fat off. And as I go through this, I can feel with my fingers how hard or how soft it is. So as it gets softer, I kind of want to back off a little bit. So I don't want to gouge it or scalp it, but I'm just gonna be honest with you, scalping happens. As much as we try not to when we're trimming briskets, it's going to happen. So if you look here now, we're starting to get close. Got about an inch left, so I'm gonna take a little bit more off. See, told you. Don't get greedy, that's what happens. But if that does happen, it's totally not the end of the world. Still gonna cook the same, so no worries in that part. So now we're gonna take this fat on the flat down a little bit. So I'm gonna start here. Make me a little bit of a tab. I'm gonna hold that tab. Then I'm just gonna guide my knife down and remove that fat. This side over here doesn't have as much fat as this side, so please be aware of that as you're trimming your briskets, because you want to keep your flats covered so that way they can withstand the heat as they go through the cook. So now we're at probably about an inch, so we still got a little bit of a ways to go, so we're gonna take it down one more level. All right, so there, we're gonna come around, start knocking off any square edges, because that's one thing when you're cooking brisket, you don't want any sharp, straight edges. So now we're down to about just the right amount of fat to where we want this when we get ready to cook. So now, at this point, we're just gonna continue to shape it up, round it off a little bit. We like somewhat of a little bit of a square front, and we'll finish this thing off and show you the final product when we're done. So here at this point, I'm gonna flatten everything out. So notice how this here is very, very thin. So that's gonna burn up, we're gonna crisp up. So we're not gonna keep that part on here. So we're totally gonna get rid of that. And like I said, I'm an aggressive trimmer. So for this part, we're gonna measure that probably about there to where the thickest part starts to begin. And we're gonna cut that. Gonna cube this up for trim, because it belongs to the grinder at this point in time. Burgers, sausages, whatever you want to make with this, meatloaf, chili, doesn't matter. It's all great for all those things. And also what this does, it helps gives you a nice, even uniform size when it comes to all of your briskets in the smoker and having them fit. That's what we found out. So from here, I'm just gonna start to round these corners off here a little bit and get everything nice and uniform, so that way it's ready for the smoker. Here we go. So now I'm just, at this point, it's rounded out to the point where we like. So now I'm just gonna go back and inspect anything that I see hanging out. If I have any little pieces hanging out that really shouldn't be there or sticking out, I'm just gonna remove any of those. But outside of that, I think that is pretty much it. So there you have it. You have a nicely trimmed brisket, got a 1/4 inch of fat all the way down, nice rendering as it cooks. See a little bit here I'll take off. Perfect. So at this point, we are good and we're ready to go. So I hope you've enjoyed this very first episode of Smoking with Austin and trimming briskets with us today. It's been a pleasure to teach you guys and bring you into what we do here at A&M BBQ and share these family recipes and secrets with you. Have a great day, and we'll see you in episode number 2. Coming soon. Have a great day, everybody. Keep cooking.